If you're a contract decorator in the custom decoration industry, you often let your customers supply their own products. And if you haven't watch our other video on how to create a customer supplied product within your DecoNetwork account. Now, after you've created that customer supplied product, you can create quotes and orders in Business Hub for your contract clients, but it's still kind of tedious for you to have to do it. I mean, your contract client is going to be emailing you the details as to what they need, and then you're having to put together a quote. They approve the quote, becomes an order. So instead of them emailing you and using whatever else system they do, what you really want to consider doing is actually creating a website that you password protect so that nobody can access it, and that will allow your customers to log into the site and place their order almost as efficiently as if they emailed it to you. But there's so many benefits for them placing the order through the site themselves. I mean, it's going to just make everything easier. It's not really going to take them more time once they've done it a couple times. So, first thing I'm going to do here is come back to my products. And in a different video that you should watch, we created a customer supplied product. And when we created this customer supplied product, we set its availability to only be available in Business Hub. That's why it has this orange background. What I want to do is actually update the availability because I need it in a store. So I could go into this individual product, but I can also make this decision at the product group level. So we're going to come back into product groups, customer supplied. Again, watch the customer supplied video we made if you're wondering how this was all done. Within availability, we are going to say, okay, it is available in Business Hub and web stores, but it is not in any store by default. It is only in the store that we want it to be available in. So we'll do this one. Now we'll do this one. And we are going to allow it. So we're denying it on every store except this one. Now I made that decision at the product group level. If I had ever overridden the actual availability within the product, which it looks like I did, that is not going to update the availability. So I set the rule at the group level, but if the product had already had its availability overridden, it's not going to be overridden again. I have to come in here and we will choose, we'll try to choose the right one. And it's not in any store by default. All right, so now that we've set that availability rule, we'll come back into our website. And within the website, we have store configuration, select blank products. This is if you really need to turn off the majority of your products, which we're not going to do. What we're going to do instead is we're going to come into edit website, website pages, and we're going to come into widgets. We're going to do a blank product listing. And that blank product, the category, is customer supplied. I'm going to show the name. And I'm going to show the, well, don't really need to show a price because until we have artwork, it doesn't really mean anything. Don't really need to show the colors. This is not a real product. It is a generic product to represent every type of customer supplied t-shirt that a walk-in customer or contract client could be sending us. So if we come here and preview, customer selects the blank and they are taken straight to the design tool. There's really no reason to take the customer to the product details page. They're not trying to learn more about the item. It is what it is. It's the one t-shirt that we're offering on this site. And from there, they can place their order, buy, checkout, obviously. Now, what you may want to do is you may want to put the website into what's called quote only mode. So if I come back into the website settings, price settings, we can put the website into quote only mode, in which the website is taking quote request, not necessarily an official order. So your contract client can put together their entire quote request, submit it without having to pay for anything, and that order will come into Business Hub as a quote requested. And from there, I can finalize the quote, send it back to the customer for their approval. They approve it, then we have an official order. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to have the website into quote or order mode. You can have it into quote only mode if you would like. The big thing that makes a website a ordering portal, I mean, really the only thing that makes it an ordering portal, is it's password protected. You don't want anybody just stumbling upon the website typically and just being able to place an order. So what we're going to do is come into Store Configuration, Customer Options. We're going to override default settings, and we're going to make it so that the customer must be logged in to view the website. And what we can do here is we can allow them to use their own username and password, or we can make them use a generic password to get in. I mean, think about going to a club back in the day. You would they'd ask you, what's the password at the door? And then you'd have to tell them the correct password, and then they gain access. So in this case, maybe we'll just make the password contract. So if the password is contract, your customer will have to put in contract, and then the website opens up. That's what makes it a portal, is it's password protected. When you're doing this type of site, you most likely don't want to allow your customer to register online. So if you're using the generic password, no problem here. If you're allowing them to use their own username and password, you probably don't want this on, because if this is on, the customer, it'll say, hey, you have to have a username and password to access. And then right next to it, do you want to sign up for a username and password? They create one, and now they have access. That's typically not what you want to do. So I'm going to turn that off, let them use their own username and password in just this case, and I will have to create their customer account in here, and that will allow them to place that order. When you create a customer account manually, it is important that you do assign them to the correct store, because their username and password is linked to a specific site. So make sure you are setting them to that site, and most of the time your contract clients are going to be using net terms, so they can purchase on account, and you can set the maximum outstanding balance for what will allow you to cut them off when they keep buying too much. I mean, this is essentially your tab that you can't exceed that amount. All right, so in summary, a contract ordering portal, it's a password protected site. Typically, you are using generic customer supplied products, which don't have a blank product price, just a decoration price associated with it. You may want to put the website into quote only mode. That's up to you. But the biggest thing is it needs to be password protected. Otherwise, anybody can find it and place an order, which you may want. Last thing to take into account, and this is not my favorite way to do it, but if I wanted to, I can come here to products. We'll come into contract price levels. And again, if you haven't seen it, we did do another video on how to create contract price levels. And in here you see we have retail, contract, and affiliate. These prices are going to be affected by, or these price levels will allow us to assign different blank product markup amounts and or different decoration process price tables. So we would most likely be creating a contract price level for some of our processes, assigning those tables to these processes, And then whenever we create a quote or an order, it's going to be using the accurate price that the customer should be charged. So if you want to charge a different screen print or embroidery price, I have a contract price table created here. Down in decoration pricing, I select the contract price level, and I have assigned that contract level here. If you haven't seen it, again, check out the contract price level video that we created. Now, if you come back into the products supplier product markup, I have a pretty cool trick for you. One, make sure you're on the tiered markup. Even if you want everything to be a fixed markup, just use the same percentage everywhere. Secondly, choose the contract price level and make this -100. It doesn't work if you do it up here in the fixed markup. It only works in the tiered markup situation. Okay, so now you can see level 2 has a -100% markup. Remember, when you create a contract price level, that level is associated with a customer profile. So if I choose a customer profile, I can come into their account details and assign that contract price level, and that's what will be used whenever they're logged in or we're putting together a quote or an order. But contract price levels are also associated with stores. So if I come into websites, I'll choose my site, I'll come down to administration, and I'll set that the contract price level is level 2 contract. I want to make sure we are using that correct blank product markup. Now, if I come into the website, I can list the customer supplied products, which have no blank price, obviously, and they're generic. I mean, it's anything that can be brought to me is going to represent this t-shirt. But sometimes you have clients that are almost always sending you products from one of your primary suppliers. In that case, I can list a normal category of products that I would have on any site, but because I'm using that contract price level with the -100%, the price of the blank will be 0. Now, whenever you update your prices, it does take a few minutes to make their way over. But that -100% markup is going to make the blank price 0. Again, you just got to give it a few minutes. Pricing has to be passed all over the place. But it's going to allow your customer to select any product. And you can see here right now, it is $0 for the blank. We're just going to charge for the decoration. And that's a cool trick. If you make the blank product markup -100%, you're really zeroing out the blank product price, and the customer's only being charged the decoration price, which is really what you need for any contract order that the customer's supplying the product to you. All right, well, we covered a lot in this video as far as how to set up contract price levels when it comes to the decoration, the blank, and then how to actually password protect a website to make it the true ordering portal. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching.